Have you ever closed your eyes, pictured your future self, and felt it so vividly? Yet when you opened your eyes, nothing had changed? Maybe you caught a glimpse, a tiny shift, a coincidence, a moment where reality seemed to bend in your favor. But then, just as quickly, it slipped away, and you found yourself right back in the same patterns, the same routines, the same life. If you've ever wondered why your inner visions feel so powerful, but reality refuses to match them, you're not alone. Here's the truth. Mental pictures alone don't create your reality. Your frequency does. There's a massive difference between imagining a new life and becoming the frequency of that life. Visualization is valuable, but it's just one small piece of the puzzle. The missing ingredient, the secret few ever master, is your vibrational state. Because no matter how clear your vision board is, or how perfectly you can see yourself successful, abundant, or in love, if your frequency doesn't match it, the life you want will always feel just out of reach. Most of us were trained to hope, to wait, to pray, to trust the process. But the quantum field doesn't respond to hoping. It doesn't respond to desperate affirmations or anxious wishing. It responds to one thing: alignment. Not the energy you push out for 10 minutes in meditation, but the subtle frequency you carry with you in your breath, your choices, your emotions, and your body language all day long. The universe isn't reacting to your words. It's reading your essence. And here's where everything changes. When you stop chasing the life you want as though it's distant, and instead begin embodying it as an energy that's already here, reality starts to shift. It doesn't happen because you forced it. It doesn't happen because you thought harder or repeated affirmations louder. It happens because you stopped waiting for proof and became the proof. The frequency that opens the door to the life you've been dreaming about is not abstract. It's not vague. It's not just a concept. It's a tangible, living vibration. It feels like unshakable confidence, like a steady flow, like deep trust, like calm knowing. It doesn't rush. It doesn't plead. It doesn't constantly ask, when will it happen? It simply understands. It already has. And in that space, the quantum field responds because it has no choice. But why is it so difficult to hold this frequency? Why can you imagine your dream life so clearly, but the feeling of already having it slips away almost instantly? The answer is simple. Your entire history has conditioned you to vibrate at the frequency of someday. You were taught to delay, to prepare, to work until you've proven you're worthy, to wait for the right moment. And now, for perhaps the first time, you're being invited to drop all of that programming and live as if the life you've been waiting for is already yours. At first, it feels strange, even fake. But that's only because your nervous system hasn't caught up yet. This frequency isn't foreign to your spirit, it's natural. It's always been who you are. What's new is experiencing it in your physical reality. This is the process, teaching your body to live the truth your soul already knows. You're not chasing your destiny. You're remembering it. You might be asking, but how do I hold this frequency when nothing around me has changed yet? Here's the answer. You change first. You decide that your energy leads and physical reality follows. You shift your focus away from what's missing and instead anchor into what's present. You stop asking, when will I get there? And instead get into the same frequency as though you already have what it is you desire. Each thought becomes a signal. Each decision becomes a frequency broadcast. Each emotional state is an instruction to the quantum field. And when you practice this daily, not perfectly, but consistently, something begins to happen. Your energy stops crumbling under stress. It stops fading when challenges arise. Slowly, it stabilizes. It becomes your new normal. And that's when the field moves. Not because you begged it to, not because you forced it, but because your frequency finally harmonized with the life you've been imagining. This is what we'll uncover in this journey. how to rise out of scarcity into the vibration of fulfillment, how to embody your desires without faking it, how to navigate life as though your vision is already reality, and most importantly, how to exist in coherence so the quantum field has no option but to reflect you. Because manifestation isn't about convincing the universe. It's about becoming the frequency that the universe cannot ignore. The field doesn't care about your words. It doesn't care about your wish lists. It doesn't care about how many affirmations you've written or how often you visualize. It mirrors who you are being. If you picture abundance but live in financial anxiety, your field registers anxiety. If you envision love but constantly deflect closeness, your field reads distance. If you imagine freedom but talk about your life as though you're trapped, your field confirms that story. The quantum field doesn't measure your goals. It measures your consistency. And this explains why so many people feel frustrated with manifestation. They meditate, they visualize, they journal, they script. They do all the right techniques, but the results don't land. Why? Because their thoughts and their bodies are out of sync. Their minds say abundance while their nervous system screams fear. Their words declare love while their emotions broadcast doubt. The result? Mixed signals. Static, and the field mirrors back confusion. But when your thoughts, emotions, and actions align, when you broadcast one clear frequency, coherence is created. And coherence is magnetic. In coherence, reality reorganizes itself around you. So what does this look like in real life? It means that instead of waiting to feel abundant until the money arrives, you breathe and move as though abundance is already part of you. Instead of hoping to feel loved when the relationship comes, you begin carrying yourself as someone who is already deeply worthy of love. Instead of waiting for success to validate your confidence, you walk into every room as the version of you who already succeeded, not because you're pretending, not because you're forcing it, but because you're remembering who you truly are beneath the doubts. Spiritual teachers have called this many names. Neville Goddard called it living in the wish fulfilled. Dr. Joe Dispenza describes it as installing new neural pathways. Greg Braden calls it heart-brain coherence. Different words. Same truth. You stop trying to become, and you simply exist as if you already are. That's the quantum frequency. It's not something you pursue, it's something you practice. Over and over until it becomes second nature. Until it feels more real to you than your old limitations ever did. Yes, it feels uncomfortable at first. Yes, it feels unnatural. But that discomfort is only your old identity fighting for survival. It's the static between stations. Proof that you're tuning into something new. And the more you hold that signal, the clearer it becomes. You're not the seeker anymore. You're the signal. When you finally realize that the universe doesn't respond to wanting, but to being, everything changes. Think about it. When you say, I want abundance, what signal are you sending? The signal of lack. When you say, I want love, what does the field hear? That love is missing. The field doesn't reward wanting. It doesn't answer longing. It doesn't react to desperation. It mirrors coherence, and coherence means your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions are saying the same thing. That's why the most powerful shift you can make is not in what you visualize, but in what you embody. Because when your mind says abundance, and your body feels abundance, and your choices act abundance, the signal is unified. And when the signal is unified, the field has no choice but to reorganize itself around you. This is why ancient wisdom traditions, modern quantum physics, and neuroscience all point to the same truth. Alignment is the gateway. Let's break this down. If you envision prosperity, but your body still tenses every time you check your bank account, your field is not receiving prosperity. It's receiving anxiety. If you picture deep love, but you avoid intimacy or deflect compliments, your field is not receiving love. It's receiving withdrawal. If you visualize freedom but continue speaking about your life as though you're trapped, your field is not receiving freedom, it's receiving limitations. The quantum field doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you know you are. That's why the shift from wanting to knowing is everything. When you stop identifying as someone chasing a dream and instead become the person already living that dream, your signal sharpens, the fog clears, and the field reflects that back to you in undeniable ways. Now, let's clear up a common misunderstanding. When I say, live as if, some people think I mean fake it, pretend, put on a mask and hope the universe falls for the act. That's not it at all. Living as if isn't about performance, it's about conditioning. It's about teaching your nervous system a new normal, training your body to feel safe in the vibration of already having what you desire. It's not pretending. It's practicing. When you live as if, you're rehearsing the frequency of your future self until it feels natural, until it stops being an idea and becomes your baseline. And yes, at first it feels uncomfortable. At first it feels awkward. You'll catch yourself thinking, this feels fake. But that's not because it's untrue. It's because your body is still calibrated to your past. Your nervous system has been running the same programs for years, maybe decades. It's used to survival mode. It's familiar with struggle. It's comfortable with scarcity. So when you begin transmitting a new signal, your system resists. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because you're doing it right. You're stretching beyond the old frequency and your body is recalibrating. This resistance isn't failure. It's proof you're tuning into a new station. Think of it like tuning an old radio. When you turn the dial, you don't go from static to perfect clarity in one click. You pass through the noise, the interference, the in-between. That static doesn't mean the station doesn't exist. It means you're in the process of finding it. Your manifestation journey is exactly the same. When old fears resurface, when doubts creep in, when scarcity whispers in your ear again, that's the static. It's not a sign to quit. It's a sign you're close. The secret is what I call frequency anchoring. Every time you notice yourself slipping back into the old frequency, you redirect, gently, consistently, without judgment. You ask, what would the version of me who already has this think right now? How would they feel? What would they do next? And then you choose that, even if it's just for the next 5 minutes. Each micro-choice is a stone dropped into the quantum field, sending ripples far beyond what you can see. Neuroscience proves this. Your brain is constantly rewiring itself through a process called neuroplasticity. Every time you think a new thought or make a new choice, you're building a new neural pathway. The more often you walk that path, the stronger it becomes until it becomes automatic. That's why embodying your future self daily is so powerful. You're not just imagining a new reality. You're physically rewiring your brain and nervous system to support it. And here's where it gets fascinating. It's not only your brain that changes. Your heart plays a role too. The HeartMath Institute has shown that the heart generates an electromagnetic field up to 60 times stronger than the brain. When your thoughts and your emotions are in harmony, when your heart and brain are coherent, your entire field becomes a powerful transmitter. You stop just visualizing your desires, and you begin broadcasting them through your whole body. That's when people treat you differently. That's when synchronicities appear. That's when opportunities seem to find you out of nowhere. Not because the universe suddenly chose you, but because your signal became strong enough to be undeniable. When your frequency stabilizes, you'll notice subtle signs. Maybe repeating numbers appear like 111, 222, or 777. Maybe chance encounters or coincidences start lining up in your favor. Maybe you feel a deep calm even though nothing externally has changed yet. These are not random. They're reflections. Proof that your inner state is sensing with the field. But here's the key. Don't chase the signs. Don't demand them. Don't cling to them. They're not rewards. They're confirmations. The universe isn't dangling a carrot in front of you. It's mirroring back the coherence you've created. The most important thing to understand is this: you're not manifesting outcomes. You're manifesting identity. Your outer life is a reflection of who you are being. And your identity is not just your thoughts. It's your energy, your posture, your breath, your habits, your choices when nobody is watching. If your current identity has been built around lack, struggle, or limitation, your biology is wired to support that. Your nervous system, your hormones, your immune system, they've all been organized around the old you. So when you step into a new identity, your body will resist. It will feel uncomfortable. You might even sabotage yourself at first. Psychologists call this an upper limit problem, where success feels unsafe because it doesn't match your historical set point, but this discomfort is not a signal to stop. It's the growing pains of transformation. You don't wait for it to feel comfortable before you change. You change, and then comfort arrives. One way to make this process easier is through identity bridging. Instead of leaping straight from where you are to your dream self, you create stepping stones. If you're broke and want wealth, embody the identity of someone learning to handle money well. If you're single and want love, embody the identity of someone open to love. If you're insecure and want confidence, embody the identity of someone practicing self-trust. These bridge identities are easier to hold because they don't feel like lies. They feel like natural steps. And as you stabilize each one, your nervous system adjusts, your frequency strengthens, and you move closer to the full embodiment of your dream self. This mirrors how particles behave in quantum mechanics. They don't jump from one state to another in a straight line. They pass through intermediate states, invisible stepping stones, until the leap is complete. Your transformation works the same way. The longer you practice, the more automatic it becomes. You stop waiting for proof. You stop checking for signs. You stop chasing outcomes. You realize you are the signal. You are the proof. And when that happens, something unexpected emerges. Not urgency, not excitement, but serenity. Because you're no longer desperate for results. You're no longer grasping. You're no longer chasing. You're existing in a frequency where what you desire is already true. And in that serenity, manifestation accelerates because you've removed resistance. You're not forcing outcomes. You're allowing them. You become like a gardener who plants the seed, waters it, and then trusts the soil. You don't dig it up every day to check on it. You don't demand it sprout faster. You simply maintain the conditions, knowing growth is inevitable. This is the art of living in quantum frequency. There comes a moment in this journey where something strange begins to happen. You're walking down the street, you glance at a receipt, or you check the clock, and the same number keeps appearing. 111, 222, 333, maybe even 777. At first, you think it's a coincidence. But then it repeats, and repeats again, until you can't ignore it anymore. What's happening here? Is it luck, random chance, or something more? The truth is, these synchronicities are not random. They are reflections. Subtle communications from the quantum field that your signal is stabilizing, that your frequency is becoming coherent. When you stop chasing and start embodying, the field begins to mirror that harmony back to you, not always in giant breakthroughs at first, but in little winks, signs, gentle confirmations. Numbers like 777 aren't magical charms. They're signatures, energetic echoes of the state you've been cultivating. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions align, your field vibrates with clarity. That clarity interacts with the environment around you, and reality begins to reflect it back in symbolic ways. This is why mystics across cultures considered repeating numbers sacred. 7, for instance, has long been tied to divine wisdom and inner knowing. When it appears tripled, it's not just numerology, it's a resonance, an alignment echoing across your field. The field is saying, you're no longer reaching for alignment. You are alignment, and that matters more than you might realize. In quantum mechanics, there's the concept of many worlds, the idea that countless possible realities exist simultaneously. Your consciousness, through frequency, collapses one possibility into form. When you see repeated synchronicities, it's often because you're approaching a reality convergence point, a threshold where multiple possibilities are aligning and your sustained frequency is about to lock one of them in. Think of it like a fork in the road, except you're not walking toward the path. The path is forming around you based on the energy you've been broadcasting. And this is where many people make a mistake. They see the sign and think, it's done. I can relax now. But in truth, this is the most important moment to maintain your signal. The convergence point is delicate. It's the final tuning stage before the new station comes in clear. The appearance of synchronicities is not permission to quit. It's an invitation to deepen your embodiment. In quantum physics, there's a phenomenon called tunneling, where particles slip through barriers that should be impossible to cross. On the journey of manifestation, synchronicities often appear during what I call consciousness tunneling. It feels like your reality is in flux. Old patterns may intensify. Challenges may pop up out of nowhere. Doubts may whisper louder than ever. This isn't because the universe is testing you. It's because your old reality is reorganizing itself to dissolve while the new one is stabilizing. It's like renovating a house while still living inside, messy, chaotic, but necessary for transformation. When you see repeating signs, understand, you're tunneling. You're moving through the barrier between who you were and who you're becoming. And the key to passing through is simple. Hold the frequency. Breathe. Center yourself. Don't get distracted by appearances. Because the field isn't reacting to the temporary chaos, it's sensing to your steady vibration. This is why the practice of already is so powerful. Ask yourself, if I already had it, how would I feel right now? How would I breathe? How would I carry myself? Then live from that place. When you catch yourself slipping, when doubts whisper, when the old identity claws at you, return to already. One thought, one breath, one action, over and over. This is what conditions your nervous system to stop defaulting to the old identity and start stabilizing the new one. Because in the end, the field isn't persuaded by your desires. It's persuaded by your coherence. One of the hardest parts of this journey comes right after you've stabilized your frequency. You've done the inner work, you've embodied the state, and then nothing seems to happen. The big shift doesn't arrive. The bank account doesn't change overnight. The relationship doesn't materialize instantly. And yet, inside, something feels different, calmer, more secure, less desperate. This is the test of stillness. It's in these quiet phases that most people sabotage themselves. They panic. They think it's not working. And by doing so, they pull their frequency back to the old station. But if you can hold steady in the stillness, if you can trust the invisible momentum building beneath the surface, then the shift will crystallize. Remember, in the physical world, manifestation looks sudden, but in the quantum, it's gradual. By the time you notice the result, it's been building for a while. Your job isn't to force it. Your job is to maintain the signal until the invisible becomes visible. So the next time you see 111 or 777 or any repeating sign, don't overthink it. Don't attach superstition to it. Recognize it for what it is, a mirror. It's not telling you what's coming. It's reflecting what's present. It's a confirmation that your inner coherence has reached a tipping point. that your frequency is strong enough to echo in the world around you, and that's powerful. Because it means you're no longer just imagining the life you dream about. You're embodying it, and reality is beginning to notice. There's another layer here, one that most teachers never talk about. In quantum physics, there's the observer effect. The idea that the act of observation influences the outcome. When you apply this to your life, it means the way you perceive yourself literally shapes your reality. If you keep observing yourself as someone waiting, someone lacking, someone not there yet, your field reflects that. But when you observe yourself as someone who already is, the field adjusts. This isn't about pretending. It's about changing your point of view. Because when you shift your self-observation, you shift the frequency. And when you shift the frequency, reality follows. Now let's make this practical. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You don't need to move mountains or wait for perfect circumstances. You just need to shift small choices, moment by moment. Wake up and breathe like someone who's already abundant. Walk into a room with the posture of someone already confident. Speak about yourself the way someone who's loved and valued would. Each choice may seem small, but each choice is a ripple in the field, and over time, those ripples grow into waves. This is how transformation happens. Not in a single grand gesture, but in 1,000 micro choices that align you with the person you've always been becoming. And let's be clear, you will slip, you will doubt. You will fall back into old patterns sometimes. That's not failure. That's recalibration. Every time you catch yourself and return to the new frequency, you strengthen it. You teach your nervous system that this is home now. Think of it like learning an instrument. At first, your fingers fumble. You hit the wrong notes. But each correction builds muscle memory. Eventually, the song plays effortlessly. Frequency works the same way. Each redirection is practice. Each slip is part of the learning curve. And the more you play, the clearer the music becomes. So here's the truth. You're not waiting for your dream life to arrive. You're not begging the universe to notice you. You are the signal. You are the observer. You are the frequency. And every breath, every choice, every moment is an opportunity to broadcast that truth louder, clearer, more consistently. This is the real secret to living in quantum frequency. Not forcing, not chasing, not pretending, but embodying, choosing, becoming. Until one day, without even realizing when it happened, you look around and notice the life you once dreamed of is simply the life you're living. If you've made it this far, you already understand something most people never realize. Manifestation isn't about chasing outcomes. It's about embodying identity. Because the life you want doesn't exist out there in some distant future. It exists here, now, as a frequency you can step into. And the bridge between where you are and where you're going is not time. It's not luck. It's not chance. It's identity. Everything you experience in life is filtered through the lens of who you believe yourself to be. If you believe you're someone who struggles, your mind will unconsciously seek evidence to confirm struggle. Your nervous system will prime you for stress. Your actions will reinforce patterns that keep you stuck. But if you shift your belief, if you begin to carry yourself as someone who is stable, empowered, and aligned, your mind starts scanning for new evidence. Your nervous system relaxes. Your actions align with a higher standard. And over time, this isn't just mindset, it's frequency. Your identity is the most powerful signal you broadcast into the quantum field. It overrides words. It overrides vision boards. It overrides affirmations, because it is who you are being. Now, here's the challenge. Jumping straight from your current identity to your dream self can feel impossible. If you've been living paycheck to paycheck, trying to leap into the frequency of millionaire may feel fake. If you've been alone for years, trying to leap straight into the frequency of deeply in love may feel hollow. That's where bridging identities come in. Instead of leaping from one extreme to another, you build a series of small bridges, intermediate identities that feel believable now, but still lead you toward your vision. If your goal is wealth, you start by embodying the identity of someone who manages money well, someone who respects every dollar, someone who knows opportunities are always flowing. If your goal is love, you start by embodying the identity of someone open to connection, someone who radiates self-worth, someone who enjoys giving and receiving love in small ways daily. If your goal is confidence, you start by embodying the identity of someone who practices self-trust, someone who shows up even when it feels uncomfortable. Each bridge identity is a stepping stone, and as you embody them one by one, your nervous system adapts, your signal strengthens, and the leap no longer feels like fantasy. It feels inevitable. Here's the truth. Your body is addicted to your old identity. Your cells are used to the chemical cocktail of stress, worry, and self-doubt. Your mind is wired to replay the same patterns. Your nervous system is calibrated to your past. That's why, when you first embody a new frequency, it feels awkward. Your body protests. It craves the familiar. It pulls you back into old habits. But each time you redirect, each time you choose the new identity over the old one, you're reconditioning your system. Neuroscience calls this Hebb's law. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Every repetition makes the new pattern stronger and the old one weaker. At first, it takes effort. You catch yourself slipping. You consciously redirect, but eventually it becomes automatic. The new identity becomes your baseline. And when that happens, your frequency is no longer something you're practicing. It's something you're living. There's a paradox here. The more you embody your dream identity, the less desperate you become for results. When you live as though it's already true, you stop checking for proof every 5 minutes. You stop obsessing over signs. You stop wondering, when will it happen? Instead, a deep serenity emerges. This serenity is not laziness. It's not giving up. It's the calm confidence of alignment. The quiet knowing that reality has no choice but to catch up. Think of it like gravity. You don't question whether gravity will work today. You trust it fully. And because of that trust, you move through the world with ease. When you embody your new frequency long enough, manifestation feels the same. You stop needing reassurance because the energy itself is reassurance. You carry serenity because you know the field is already rearranging. And ironically, it's this serenity, not urgency, not pressure, that accelerates results. Because serenity removes resistance. But let's talk about resistance, because it will appear. Old patterns will resurface. Doubts will whisper. Fear will rise. That's normal. What you must understand is this. Resistance isn't the universe blocking you. It's your nervous system recalibrating. When you've lived in one identity for years, shifting out of it feels unsafe at first. Not because the new identity is wrong, but because your system equates familiar with safe. So resistance is not a sign to quit. It's a sign to continue. It's proof that you're rewiring. When resistance shows up, breathe. Anchor into your new frequency. Remind yourself, this isn't danger, it's detox. Each time you hold steady through resistance, you strengthen your new baseline. So how do you sustain this frequency long term? You build daily anchors. Small, repeatable practices that remind your body and mind of the new identity. Here are a few. Breath work. Each morning, breathe deeply into the state you want to embody. Let every inhale remind you of abundance, love, confidence, or peace. Posture and movement. Carry yourself as the version of you who already lives that reality. Stand taller. Move slower. Walk with presence. Language. Speak as though it's already true. Not I will, but I am. Not someday, but now. micro choices. At every small decision point, ask, what would the future me choose here? Then choose that. Visualization, not of something distant, but of something present. Feel the emotions of already living it until your body believes it. Each anchor may seem small, but together they create momentum. They condition your system daily. They turn the new identity from practice into habit. Over weeks and months, something incredible begins to happen. You stop forcing the frequency. You stop reminding yourself constantly. It becomes who you are. And because it's who you are, you no longer wobble every time circumstances test you. You don't crumble under stress. You don't spiral when results take time. Instead, you carry coherence, and coherence is magnetic. It pulls people toward you. It draws opportunities in. It reshapes the way reality interacts with you. And eventually, without you even noticing the exact moment, the life you dreamed about stops being a dream. It becomes your baseline. Here's the final truth. This isn't a one-time trick. It's not something you do once and then stop. It's an infinite game. There will always be new layers to embody, new frequencies to explore, new versions of yourself to step into. Because life is not static. Consciousness is not static. Expansion is the natural state of the universe. And when you align with that expansion, when you treat life as an endless unfolding instead of a final destination, you tap into infinite growth. You don't just manifest the life you once dreamed of. You evolve into someone who dreams bigger, lives freer, and loves deeper than you ever thought possible. There's a reason so many spiritual teachers, neuroscientists, and researchers are all saying the same thing in different languages. Whether they call it vibration, coherence, or frequency, they're pointing to the same universal truth. Your inner state shapes your outer reality. And one of the most powerful ways to understand this truth is through the science of your heart. Most of us think of the brain as the command center of reality creation. And while it's true your thoughts are powerful, they're not the strongest signal you send. Your heart is. The HeartMath Institute has shown that the heart generates an HeartMaths, an Otteren Institute, has shown that the heart generates in Sidhu, has shown that the heart generates in Pidenzine, Simfi, Shore, electromagnetic field up to 60 times stronger than the brain's electrical activity. This field extends several feet around your body, constantly interacting with the environment and with the people around you. When your thoughts and your feelings are out of sync, your field is chaotic. But when your thoughts and feelings are aligned, your heart and brain move into what scientists call coherence. And coherence is magnetic. It's the difference between a scattered flashlight and a focused laser beam. One diffuses energy, the other cuts through steel. When you practice coherence, your entire system broadcasts a signal so strong and so unified that the quantum field mirrors it with precision. So how do you create coherence? Through breath. Your breath is the bridge between your conscious mind and your subconscious body. It's the one system you can control voluntarily that also runs automatically. When your breath is shallow and erratic, your nervous system signals stress. Your frequency becomes fragmented. But when your breath is deep, rhythmic, and intentional, your nervous system relaxes. Your body shifts into harmony. This is why practices like coherent breathing, slow, even breaths in and out are so powerful. They synchronize your heart and brain. They quiet the noise in your body. And they amplify your frequency. Each inhale becomes an invitation. Each exhale becomes an instruction to the field. You're not just breathing air. You're breathing alignment. Now let's talk about emotion, because emotion is not just a feeling. It's a frequency. Every emotion you experience carries a measurable vibration. Fear, shame, guilt, and despair vibrate at the lowest levels. Anger and frustration are higher, but still fragmented. Courage, acceptance, and willingness raise your frequency into coherence. Love, joy, gratitude, and peace vibrate at the highest states. When you live primarily in fear, you broadcast static. When you embody gratitude, you broadcast clarity. This is why gratitude practices are so transformative. Gratitude isn't just positive thinking. It's a literal frequency shift. It trains your nervous system to dwell in higher states where coherence is easier to sustain. And the higher your emotional frequency, the more magnetic your field becomes. Quantum physics backs this up. Everything in the universe vibrates at a certain frequency. Atoms are not static. They're oscillating, resonating, alive with movement. And resonance is everything. When two vibrations are in resonance, they amplify each other. That's why tuning forks strike the same note. That's why a singer can shatter glass by matching its frequency. Your body, your thoughts, your emotions, they're all oscillating. And when they resonate with the frequency of your desired reality, manifestation accelerates. It's not magic. It's resonance. The field isn't withholding your desires. It's waiting for your signal to match. But here's the challenge. It's easy to feel coherent in meditation, in silence, in stillness. The real test is when life gets messy, when bills pile up, when relationships strain, when uncertainty creeps in. That's when coherence matters most. Because anyone can hold alignment on the yoga mat, but mastery is holding it in traffic, in arguments, in setbacks, in the unpredictable flow of daily life. So how do you do that? By building emotional anchors. Pause and breathe. Instead of reacting instantly, take one slow breath. Let your body shift before your mind responds. Ask a better question. Instead of, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "How would my future self respond here?" Choose state over story. Don't get lost in the narrative. Focus on restoring coherence first. Then act. Practice micro-gratitude. Even in chaos, find one small thing to appreciate. It shifts the frequency immediately. These anchors keep you steady, so the chaos doesn't pull you back into your old identity. Understand this? Emotional mastery doesn't mean never feeling negative emotions. It means not becoming them. You can feel fear without broadcasting fear. You can notice anger without radiating anger. You can experience doubt without letting it become your frequency. The difference is in awareness. When you catch yourself in low vibration, you don't judge it. You don't spiral into shame. You simply redirect. You breathe. You remember coherence. And the more you practice this, the less grip those old emotions have. They pass through like clouds instead of storms. Most people live their entire lives in reaction. Something happens, they react. They get triggered, they react. The world pushes them, they react. But when you live in quantum frequency, you stop reacting, you start creating. Instead of being a puppet pulled by circumstance, you become the director of your own play. You set the tone. You establish the frequency. And reality adjusts around you. This doesn't mean you control everything. It means you control your state. And by controlling your state, you influence everything. And here's the beautiful part. Your frequency doesn't just affect you. It affects everyone around you. When you walk into a room coherent, people feel it. They don't know why, but they sense the calm, the confidence, the clarity. They respond differently. They soften, they listen, they open. Your field influences theirs. Your coherence invites theirs. This is how one person can shift an entire environment, not by preaching, not by forcing, but by embodying. And the ripple doesn't stop there. Your coherence influences your family. Your family influences their communities. Communities influence society. This is how planetary transformation begins, not with grand gestures, but with individual frequency shifts that ripple outward. So remember this. Coherence is not a one-time achievement. It's a lifelong practice. Every breath is an opportunity. Every choice is a broadcast. Every moment is a chance to either fall into reaction or rise into creation. And the more often you choose coherence, the easier it becomes. Until one day, you realize you're no longer practicing alignment, you're living it. And in that moment, the quantum field doesn't just mirror back your desires, it mirrors back your essence. There's a fascinating truth emerging from both ancient wisdom and modern quantum theory. Reality is not fixed. It's fluid. It's a spectrum of possibilities, all existing simultaneously, waiting for consciousness to collapse one into form. What does that mean for you? It means that the life you dream of isn't somewhere far away in time. It already exists. Right now, as a parallel potential in the quantum field, your task is not to build it from scratch. Your task is to align with the frequency where it's already real. Think of reality like a radio dial. Countless stations are broadcasting at once. Rock, jazz, classical, news, pop, they're all playing simultaneously. But the one you hear depends on the frequency you tune into. Life works the same way. There isn't one fixed timeline for you. There are infinite. In some, you're struggling. In others, you're thriving. In some, you're alone. In others, you're surrounded by love. Every possibility exists. Your state of consciousness, your vibration, determines which one you're tuned into. This is why two people can live in the same city, face the same challenges, and yet experience completely different realities. One vibrates scarcity and constantly sees obstacles. The other vibrates abundance and constantly sees opportunities. They're not in the same reality, even though they share the same physical world. When you raise your frequency, you're not waiting for your life to change someday. You're shifting into a parallel version of reality where that change already exists. This is why quantum shifts often feel sudden. One moment, nothing's happening. The next, doors fly open, people show up, opportunities align. It's not that the universe finally decided to give you what you wanted. It's that you moved into the frequency where it was already true. And the bridge between timelines is not time. It's vibration. Here's where it gets even more exciting. Your imagination is not just pretend. Neuroscience shows that when you vividly imagine something, your brain activates almost the exact same neural pathways as when you experience it physically. In other words, your body doesn't fully distinguish between real and imagined. This means your imagination is not fantasy, it's rehearsal. It's frequency training. When you imagine your dream life vividly and repeatedly, you're not daydreaming. You're rehearsing the vibration. You're conditioning your nervous system. You're installing the neural pathways of your future self. And the more you practice it, the more natural it feels. Until one day, your body can't tell the difference anymore. It accepts the imagined state as the real state, and at that point, the quantum field must reflect it. Because remember, the field doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. The secret, then, is to anchor into the state of already done. This doesn't mean ignoring physical reality. It doesn't mean pretending challenges don't exist. It means carrying the inner conviction that your desire is already true in the quantum, and letting that conviction shape how you breathe, how you walk, how you speak, and how you choose. When you embody already done, you stop sending mixed signals. You're no longer oscillating between hope and fear, desire and doubt. Your field broadcasts one clear message: this is who I am. And coherence like that is irresistible. At first, you'll notice a gap. The inner conviction feels real, but the outer world doesn't match yet. That gap is where most people lose faith. They think, if nothing's changed outside, maybe I'm doing it wrong. But the gap isn't proof of failure. It's proof of transition. Imagine a train switching tracks. There's always a moment where the old track is still visible, but the new direction is already set. That's the gap. Your outer world is still echoing your old frequency, but the moment you sustain the new vibration long enough, the shift locks in. The outer world has no choice but to catch up. So the practice becomes simple. Hold the frequency even when the outer world hasn't reflected it yet. This is the true test. Can you remain in the already done state when circumstances suggest otherwise? Most people can't. They wobble. They let the old reality pull them back. And in doing so, they reset the signal. But if you can hold steady, if you can live as though it's already done even when there's no evidence yet, you collapse the timeline faster, because your field isn't waiting for proof. It's creating the proof. This is why shifts often feel miraculous. One moment, the situation looks hopeless. The next, everything changes. It's not a miracle. It's a quantum leap. You sustained the frequency long enough to align with a parallel reality where the result was already true. And because that reality was always there, the shift feels instant. From the outside, people will say, "You're so lucky. That came out of nowhere." But you'll know the truth. You didn't stumble into luck. You tuned into alignment. When you grasp this, you stop living in limitation. You stop asking, "Can it happen?" and start asking, "Which version of me will I embody today?" Because the possibilities are endless. There's no fixed destiny. There's no single path. There are infinite versions of you waiting in the field. And the one you experience depends on the frequency you choose, moment by moment, breath by breath. Here's the ultimate realization. The future is not something you're moving toward. The future is something you're choosing now. Each breath, each thought, each choice is a doorway. And every doorway leads to a different version of reality. So the real question is not, when will my dream life arrive? The real question is, am I embodying the frequency of that life right now? Because if the answer is yes, then you're already living it. And the field has no choice but to reflect it. By now, you understand that reality is fluid, that parallel timelines exist, and that your frequency is the bridge between them. But let's get honest. Even with this knowledge, life will still present you with challenges. Bills don't always vanish overnight. Relationships don't always flow without friction. Old patterns don't always dissolve the moment you decide to change. So the question becomes, what do you do when obstacles appear? The first thing to understand is this. There is no such thing as failure in the quantum. Failure is a human label born from the illusion of linear time. We think, if I don't have the result yet, I must have failed. But in truth, every experience is feedback. Every challenge is data. Every obstacle is an opportunity to refine your frequency. Think of it this way. If you tune a radio and hear static, you don't say the radio failed, you simply adjust the dial. The same is true for you. Challenges don't mean you're failing. They mean you're recalibrating. When you encounter resistance, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What is this training me to embody?" Because every obstacle carries a hidden gift. Financial challenges train you to embody abundance even when appearances suggest scarcity. Relationship struggles train you to embody love even when conflict arises. Health setbacks train you to embody vitality even when the body feels weak. Each challenge is an invitation to hold the frequency regardless of circumstances. And when you can do that, when you can broadcast abundance and lack, love and conflict, peace and chaos, you become unshakable. Your frequency stops wobbling with conditions. It becomes sovereign. Ancient traditions often spoke of passing through the fire, not physical fire, but symbolic fire, the challenges that burn away old identities and reveal your true essence. That's exactly what obstacles are. They're not punishments, they're purification. They strip away the layers of fear, doubt, and limitation you've been carrying until only coherence remains. Think of gold being refined. It's placed in the fire, not to destroy it, but to burn away the impurities. Your challenges are the same. They're the fire that refines your frequency. So how do you actually hold frequency when you're in the middle of a storm? Here are a few practical steps. Pause before reaction when a challenge arises. Don't react immediately. Pause. Take a single conscious breath. This one act interrupts old patterns and reopens the space of choice. Name the old identity. Ask yourself, which version of me is being triggered right now? Naming the old identity makes it visible, and once it's visible, you can choose differently. Recall the new frequency. Bring to mind the feelings of your desired state, abundance, love, confidence. Even if your body resists, rehearse it. Anchor into already done. Act from the future self. Ask, what action would the version of me who already has the result take right now? Then take that step, no matter how small. Release the outcome. Detach from needing the challenge to disappear instantly. Focus on coherence, not control. Trust that the field is recalibrating. Each time you practice this, you build resilience. You strengthen your signal, and you prove to yourself that your frequency is not fragile, it's sovereign. Here's a radical shift in perspective. Setbacks are not roadblocks, they're shortcuts. Because every time you hold coherence through difficulty, you quantum leap faster than you ever could in comfort. Comfort rarely transforms us. Challenge does. Think back on your life. The moments that shaped you most deeply weren't the easy ones. They were the ones that stretched you, challenged you, broke down the old version of you, and forced you to rise. Setbacks are accelerators. They collapse timelines by forcing you to embody your future self sooner than you would have chosen. Let's say you lose your job. Most people would panic, spiral into fear, and collapse into scarcity. But what if you shifted your perspective? What if you said, this isn't loss. This is the universe closing one frequency so I can tune into another. Instead of reacting from fear, you anchor into possibility. You embody the identity of someone resourceful, abundant, adaptable. And from that state, new opportunities appear. Not because they weren't there before, but because you weren't tuned into them. This is the power of perspective. You don't control circumstances. You control the frequency you bring to them. Another way to look at setbacks is as energy. Every challenge carries energy, and you get to decide how to use it. Fear can drain you, or it can fuel you. Pain can break you, or it can shape you. Doubt can paralyze you, or it can sharpen you. When you stop labeling obstacles as negative and start asking, how can I use this energy? You transform resistance into momentum. This is alchemy, the art of turning one state into another. And you are the alchemist. Another way to look at setbacks is as energy. Every challenge carries energy, and you get to decide how to use it. Fear can drain you, or it can fuel you. Pain can break you, or it can shape you. Doubt can paralyze you, or it can sharpen you. When you stop labeling obstacles as negative and start asking, how can I use this energy? You transform resistance into momentum. This is alchemy, the art of turning one state into another, and you are the alchemist. Think of challenges as feedback. The field is always showing you where you're coherent and where you're fragmented. If scarcity keeps showing up, it's feedback that you haven't fully embodied abundance yet. If conflict keeps repeating, it's feedback that you haven't fully embodied love yet. If self-doubt keeps resurfacing, it's feedback that you haven't fully embodied confidence yet. The feedback isn't punishment, it's precision. It's the universe giving you a mirror. And when you stop judging the mirror and start using it, you grow faster than ever before. Ultimately, the goal is not to create a life with no challenges. That's impossible. The goal is to become unshakable within them. To reach the point where your frequency is so stable, so coherent, so sovereign, that no setback can pull you out of alignment. When others panic, you breathe. When others react, you create. When others collapse, you expand. This is mastery. This is living in quantum frequency. Because in the end, your power isn't proven when life is easy. It's proven when life tests you, and you remain aligned anyway. Up until now, we've been focusing on how quantum frequency transforms your life, your relationships, your abundance, your opportunities, your inner peace. But there's a truth even greater than this. Your frequency doesn't just change you. It changes the collective. Every time you raise your vibration, you're not only shifting your own timeline, you're sending ripples across the field that touch everyone around you. Think about how it feels to walk into a room where someone is angry. Even if they don't say a word, you feel it. The tension in their posture, the heaviness in the air, the invisible charge. Their frequency impacts the environment. Now think about how it feels to walk into a room where someone is radiant, calm, grounded. You breathe easier. You feel lighter. Their coherence stabilizes you. This isn't imagination. It's physics. Your heart's electromagnetic field extends several feet beyond your body. When you enter a space, your field interacts with others. And the more coherent you are, the more influence your field has. That means that every time you choose coherence over chaos, gratitude over fear, love over resentment, you're not just shifting yourself. You're uplifting the field for everyone around you. Scientists have measured this. When a group of people practice coherent breathing together, their heart rhythms synchronize. Their frequencies literally align. This is why meditation groups often feel so powerful. It's not just individuals meditating side by side. Their fields are merging into one larger coherent field, and coherence is contagious. The stronger it becomes, the easier it is for others to attune to it. That means your personal practice has collective impact, even if no one else knows what you're doing. Even if you never speak a word, your frequency is felt. Now imagine this ripple effect on a larger scale. If one person can shift the energy of a room, what happens when thousands of people align in coherence? What happens when millions do? This is not speculation. Studies show that when large groups meditate with a shared intention, measurable changes occur in crime rates, conflict zones, and even economic patterns. Why? Because consciousness is not private, it's shared. The quantum field connects us all. When enough people raise their frequency, the collective baseline shifts. And when the baseline shifts, society begins to reorganize. This is how planetary transformation begins. Not from the top down, not from political systems or external control, but from the inside out through individuals choosing coherence. So where do you fit in? You may feel small at times. You may think, how could my breath, my frequency, my alignment matter on a planetary scale? But that's the illusion. The truth is, every coherent signal strengthens the collective field. Imagine an ocean. One drop may seem insignificant, but millions of drops form waves strong enough to reshape the shore. You are one drop, but you're not alone. Every time you embody coherence, you amplify the field of possibility for humanity. You make it easier for others to remember their power. You light up the grid of consciousness that connects us all. This is why your inner work matters so much. When you choose gratitude instead of fear, you're not just healing yourself. You're softening the collective frequency of fear that grips humanity. When you embody abundance, you're not just improving your finances. You're weakening the global frequency of scarcity. When you radiate love, you're not just attracting relationships. You're amplifying love on the planet. Your frequency is activism. Your alignment is leadership. Your coherence is contribution. The world doesn't change because of what we shout. It changes because of what we broadcast. Many wisdom traditions teach that Earth itself has a frequency, often called the Schumann resonance. This planetary heartbeat is constantly interacting with our individual frequencies. When humanity is fragmented, the planetary field is chaotic. When humanity aligns, the planetary field stabilizes. This is why moments of global meditation or mass coherence feel so powerful. It's not symbolic, it's energetic. The earth is alive and it responds to us. So every time you breathe with awareness, every time you hold a higher vibration, every time you anchor into coherence, you're not just creating your dream life, you're participating in planetary healing. This brings us to a bigger invitation. Living in quantum frequency is not just about manifesting a new car, a dream house, or financial success. Those are beautiful, but they're not the end. The real invitation is to step into your role as a conscious creator on this planet, to recognize that your frequency is not just personal power, but collective medicine. Because when enough of us stabilize in coherence, we reach what scientists call a tipping point. A moment where the collective field becomes so strong that reality itself reorganizes. We're closer to that tipping point than ever before. And every choice you make contributes to it. So how do you live this truth daily? By becoming a frequency anchor. An anchor is steady in the storm. It doesn't fight the waves. It holds the ship in place. You can be that anchor for the people around you. When others panic, you breathe. When others complain, you find gratitude. When others spiral into fear, you radiate calm. You don't force them to change. You don't preach. You simply embody. And embodiment is the most powerful teaching of all. Imagine a world where millions of us live like this. Not perfect, not flawless, but committed to coherence. Imagine cities where people breathe instead of react. Imagine workplaces where gratitude outweighs stress. Imagine families where love is the baseline, not conflict. It's not utopia. It's possible, because reality mirrors frequency. And if enough of us shift our frequency, the mirror must change. This is the deeper purpose of living in quantum frequency. It's not just about manifesting the life you dream for yourself. It's about co-creating the life we dream for humanity. So ask yourself, what's the bigger dream beyond your personal desires? Yes, you deserve abundance, love, health, freedom. But beyond that, what dream do you hold for humanity? For the earth? For generations to come? Because when you align your frequency not just with personal gain but with collective good, your power multiplies. The field amplifies you. Doors open even faster. Synchronicities flood your path. Why? Because the universe supports coherence that serves the whole. And when you live from that place, your life becomes more than manifestation. It becomes contribution. By now you understand the grand vision. Your frequency shapes not only your life but the collective. But here's the key. None of this matters if it stays abstract. To truly live in quantum frequency, you must integrate it into the ordinary moments of daily life. Because coherence isn't built only in meditation. It's built when you're paying bills, when you're in conversations, when you're making choices about your health. So let's talk about how to weave frequency into the areas that matter most: money, relationships, health, and everyday choices. For most people, money is the loudest trigger of scarcity. It's where fear shows up strongest. And that's why money is one of the best places to practice quantum frequency. Instead of seeing money as something you chase, begin seeing it as an energy you harmonize with. Money is not just paper or numbers on a screen. It's a representation of value, of exchange, of flow. When you breathe into abundance, when you carry yourself as someone who already has enough, you open the channel for money to flow more freely. Practical ways to embody abundance. Gratitude for what's here. Every time you spend, silently thank the money for flowing through you. Shift from lack to flow. Instead of saying, "I can't afford it," say, "That's not my priority right now." This shifts you out of scarcity language. Micro signals of wealth. Keep your wallet tidy. Organize your space. Treat every dollar with respect. These small signals tell your nervous system, I am abundant already. Remember, money doesn't respond to chasing. It responds to coherence. Relationships are mirrors. They reflect your frequency back to you more clearly than anything else. If you carry insecurity, you'll attract partners who trigger insecurity. If you embody self-worth, you'll attract partners who mirror self-worth. So instead of trying to find love, focus on becoming love. Embody the frequency of the relationship you desire. Practical ways to embody love. Self-dialogue. Notice how you talk to yourself. If it's harsh, soften it. Speak to yourself the way a loving partner would. Daily micro-love. Smile at strangers. Compliment someone sincerely. Radiate the energy you want to experience. Boundaries as love. Remember that love isn't just softness. It's also strength. Carry the frequency of someone who respects themselves deeply. When you live love, you magnetize love. Not because you're searching, but because the field mirrors who you are. Your body is a frequency amplifier. Every cell is vibrating, and that vibration is influenced by how you treat it. When you carry the frequency of vitality, your body responds. But if you hold the identity of sickness, fatigue, or fragility, your body mirrors that too. Practical ways to embody vitality. Breath as medicine. Each morning, take 10 conscious breaths to charge your body with life force energy. Movement as coherence. Don't just exercise to burn calories. Move as a way to broadcast vitality. Walk tall, stretch with intention, train with joy. Language of health. Stop saying I'm getting old or I'm always tired. Speak life into your body. Tell it daily. I am strong, I am vibrant, I am healing. Your body is listening, and the field is too. The truth is, coherence isn't built in big leaps. It's built in small daily choices. Every moment you're either reinforcing your old identity or embodying your new one. When you choose calm instead of panic, you shift the field. When you choose alignment over compromise, you shift the field. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be consistent. This is how quantum frequency becomes a lifestyle, not just a practice. One of the most powerful ways to integrate this into daily life is through a simple morning ritual. Here's a framework you can use. Breathe 5 minutes. Practice coherent breathing to align your heart and brain. Visualize 5 minutes. Imagine your dream life vividly as though it's already true. Feel 5 minutes. Amplify gratitude, joy, or love until your body resonates with it. Affirm 5 minutes. Speak out loud. I am aligned. I am coherent. I am already living it. Anchor all day. Carry that state into your actions, language, and choices. That's just 20 minutes, but it sets the tone for your entire day. Of course, life will still throw surprises, which is why integration also means responding in the moment. When something unexpected happens, ask, what frequency am I broadcasting right now? Is it aligned with the reality I want? How can I shift it in this moment? That simple pause can transform arguments into understanding, stress into clarity, and fear into trust. The real goal is not to do coherence only when it's convenient. It's to live it. To weave it so deeply into your choices that it becomes second nature. When you integrate it into money, love, health, and daily habits, you stop compartmentalizing. You stop separating spiritual practice from real life. It all becomes one. And when your entire life broadcasts coherence, manifestation stops being an event. It becomes a natural byproduct of who you are. This is the real promise of quantum frequency. Not just isolated wins or lucky breaks, but a steady state of fulfillment. A life where abundance flows because you are abundance. A life where love surrounds you because you are love. A life where health radiates because you are vitality. A life where peace anchors you because you are coherence. This is not fantasy. It's not unreachable. It's simply the result of integration, and once you taste it, you'll never go back. Because the old way of living, chasing, doubting, waiting, will feel like a faded dream. By now, you've learned how to tap into quantum frequency, hold coherence, integrate it into daily life, and even ripple it into the collective field. But once you've built this foundation, another question arises: how do you go further? How do you stabilize in higher states for longer? How do you amplify manifestations? And most importantly, how do you expand without draining yourself? This is the art of advanced embodiment. At first, living in coherence feels like climbing a mountain. It takes focus. It takes practice. It takes constant redirection. But over time, something shifts. The new frequency becomes your baseline. You don't have to fight for it. You don't have to remember every moment. It simply feels natural. To stabilize this, normalize the frequency. Stop putting your dream state on a pedestal. Treat it as normal. The more ordinary it feels, the more sustainable it becomes. Micro rehearsals. Instead of waiting for a big meditation session, practice in small bursts throughout the day. 30 seconds of coherence 10 times a day is more powerful than one long session where you forget afterward. Reduce contradictions. Notice where your habits, language, or actions contradict the frequency you want. Every contradiction weakens stability. Close those gaps one by one. Stability comes not from intensity, but from consistency. Once you stabilize a new baseline, you can amplify it. Think of this like turning up the volume on your frequency so the field responds faster. Ways to amplify: emotional intensity. Amplify gratitude, love, or joy until your body vibrates with it. The stronger the emotion, the stronger the broadcast. Community coherence. Practice with others. Group meditations, breathwork circles, even online communities magnify the field exponentially. Symbolic action. Take bold steps that symbolize your commitment. This could be investing in yourself, making a choice your old self never would, or stepping into environments that reflect your future identity. Amplification isn't about effort. It's about resonance. The clearer and stronger your frequency, the faster reality reflects it. Here's a trap many seekers fall into: chasing higher states obsessively. They push, they strain, they force coherence. And ironically, this obsession collapses their frequency. Because expansion must be sustainable. If you burn out, you fall back into contraction. The secret is balance. Rest as expansion. Rest is not regression. Rest is integration. When you pause, you give your body time to wire new patterns fully. Flow? Don't force. You don't need to push into higher frequencies. You allow them. Like floating on water instead of thrashing. Honor cycles. Just like nature, you'll have seasons. Times of growth and times of integration. Respect both. Remember, the goal is not to be in peak coherence every second of your life. The goal is to make coherence your baseline, so even when you dip, you return quickly. At this stage, ordinary practices may feel too basic. So here are advanced anchors to deepen embodiment. Embodied visioning. Don't just see your dream life in your mind. Act it out. Walk around your home as though you're already living it. Speak as though you already are that version. Rehearse with your body, not just your mind. Quantum journaling. Write daily entries from the perspective of your future self. Instead of "someday I will," write "today I enjoyed." This collapses time by convincing your subconscious the future is now. Frequency immersion. Surround yourself with environments, sounds, colors, and symbols that reinforce your frequency. Your nervous system is shaped by what you see and hear daily. Silent transmission. Sit quietly in public spaces and radiate coherence silently. Watch how the environment responds. This strengthens your ability to hold frequency without words. Think of embodiment as a spiral, not a straight line. You'll circle back to old lessons at higher levels. You'll face similar challenges, but from a stronger place. You'll revisit gratitude, love, trust, but each time they deepen. This spiral is infinite. There is no final level. There is always more to embody, more to amplify, more to explore. And this is the beauty of it. Expansion never ends. Life keeps offering you opportunities to rise higher, love deeper, and radiate stronger. So what does mastery look like? It doesn't mean you never wobble. It doesn't mean you never face challenges. It means you return to coherence quickly. It means you hold frequency even in chaos. It means you expand sustainably, joyfully, without force. A master doesn't control reality. A master harmonizes with it. And when you live this way, life stops feeling like a struggle. It feels like a dance. A flow. A co-creation between you and the quantum field. As you stabilize, amplify, and sustain, you may begin to sense something extraordinary. Your life is no longer about chasing outcomes. It's about embodying states. You're no longer driven by lack. You're guided by coherence. You're no longer chasing dreams. You're living them. You're no longer asking when. You're asking how much more deeply can I live this now? This is advanced embodiment. This is the life of a frequency master. We've traveled far together. From understanding the basics of frequency, to rewiring your identity, to mastering coherence and chaos, to embodying abundance, love, health, and finally expanding your influence to the collective. So let's pause and take a deep breath. Because in this moment, right here, right now, you are already living in quantum frequency. You're not waiting for it. You're not chasing it. You're embodying it. The truth is, none of this is new. You've always known it. Deep down, your soul remembers that reality is fluid, that you are more than flesh and bone, and that the field responds to your frequency. This journey isn't about learning something foreign. It's about remembering what was always yours. You remembered that the mind can be rewired. You remembered that breath is the gateway. You remembered that emotions are vibrations, not chains. You remembered that setbacks are training, not failure. You remembered that your frequency ripples outward, influencing not just your life but the collective field. This remembrance is the real transformation. Because once you remember, you can never truly forget again. Now the invitation is simple. Live it. Not just when it's convenient, not just in meditation, not just when things are easy. Live it in the ordinary moments. Live it when you wake up. Live it when you're paying bills. Live it when you're speaking to loved ones. Live it when the world tests you. Because every breath, every choice, every word is an opportunity to broadcast coherence, and coherence creates reality. Before we close, let me leave you with 3 reminders. Frequency first, reality second. Don't wait for circumstances to change your state. Change your state and circumstances will follow. It's a spiral, not a line. Growth isn't linear. You'll revisit old lessons, but each time you'll revisit them from a higher perspective. Trust the spiral. You are never alone. Even when you feel isolated, your frequency is connected to the whole. Every coherent breath you take strengthens the grid for humanity. Whatever dream brought you here, wealth, love, peace, health, know this. It already exists. It's already done. Your only task is to step into the frequency where it's true. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, you'll realize you're not manifesting anymore. You're simply living. Living in coherence. Living in abundance. Living in love. Living in quantum frequency. And remember, this isn't just about you. When you embody coherence, you contribute to humanity's evolution. You ripple love into families, peace into communities, and hope into a world that desperately needs it. You are not small. You are not powerless. You are a frequency anchor in this unfolding transformation. The dream you hold for your life is part of the dream the universe holds for humanity. And by living it, you help birth a new reality for us all. So here's my invitation to you. Keep practicing. Keep embodying. Keep remembering who you are. And don't do it alone. Join this community. Subscribe to this channel. Share this journey with others who are ready to awaken. Because the more of us who live in coherence, the faster the tipping point arrives. This isn't the end. This is just the beginning. The beginning of you living not as a reactor to life, but as a conscious creator. The beginning of you embodying the dream instead of chasing it. The beginning of you stepping fully into your limitless potential. Take one last deep breath with me. Inhale possibility. Exhale gratitude. This is your moment. This is your reality, and the frequency is already yours. This is limitless mind power. This is living in quantum frequency. And this is the life you dream, already here, already now.